What's poppin', fellow nerds? Today we have round one of Friday Night Locals with my yellow WarGreymon deck, and I'm actually playing against the Mirror, another yellow WarGreymon player. By the way, how do you guys like my new mat? I just got it in about a week ago. It has two of my favorite cards from the TCG so far, Alternate Art Black WarGreymon and Alternate Art WarGreymon. So I start off pretty standard here, flip my Upamon. I Digivolve my Patamon because it was the only Rookie in my hand. And then I Digivolve for one into Toriamon. To give my opponent one. I did unfortunately win the die roll, so I did have to go first. And my opponent Digivolves and then plays a TK. Definitely a very good opening hand. Or opening turn, I should say. And he grabs a Pitomon from his security. The Mirror is kind of awkward, just because both decks have access to so much destruction that you kind of have to be a little scared to start off with. I Digivolve into my Angelwomon, and then play my Pulsemon to put him to 3 and draw a card. Seems good. And he starts to climb. And he Digivolves into WarGreymon and chokes me at 1. I sadly do not have a WarGreymon in my hand yet. But I do have some removal just to get rid of his ultimate, Eden's Javelin, with 7 cards in my hand. And he flips his Upamon. And Digivolves into his Recovery Salamon, which I'm not a huge fan of in this deck. Then he Edens my Angelwomon right back. Fair enough. And I just ask him to count the cards in his hand just to confirm that he has enough to blow it up. Then he chokes me to 1 again. So I didn't realize it at the time, but he actually focused a lot on trying to choke me to as few memory as possible. You'll see as this match goes on that he activates Blinding Rays a lot just to choke me, which I don't really agree with. I'd rather hold that card to kill my opponent, but you know, different strokes for different folks. And so right here, he Digivolves into his Angelwomon. He doesn't declare the activation of her effect, and I actually wasn't paying attention. I forgot that she's mandatory. So right now, my WarGreymon actually should have -2 security until the end of my turn. And it actually does matter, as you'll see on this upcoming turn. This was just both of our faults for not paying enough attention. But I activate a Blinding Ray to go to 3, even though he choked me. And I Digivolve into my WarGreymon. And right now my WarGreymon should have -2 security. But neither one of us were paying enough attention to keep track of that. So I do swing and do check his security, which I shouldn't be able to do. And right now, his WarGreymon's at 1000 DP due to the WarGreymon and the WarGreymon's effect. And I go ahead and just finish him off with Chaosmon. I should not have been able to check his 2 security there. I don't think it ultimately mattered in this game. I was able to control his board very well throughout this entire game. But definitely something you should look out for. I wasn't cheating him on purpose, and he just wasn't paying attention. Like, we just weren't paying enough attention. And I just checked 2 security when I shouldn't have been able to. And he plays a Pulsemon at exactly 3 security and gets to gain a memory and draw a card. Pretty good card. He chokes me to 1 again. And so this is the reason right here that I really don't like playing Chaosmon if I don't have to. Because I'd be able to swing twice here with my WarGreymon and pop his Pulsemon for free if I hadn't Digivolved into Chaosmon. So that's one of the reasons why I only play 2 Chaosmon, is just because, like, it's cool to have, but it kind of limits your upside on the following turn if you put it on top of WarGreymon. And right here, I'm thinking about swinging. Thinking about it. And end up doing it because I want to draw the card from Upa. We do die to the check, but that's fine. So right now, I have such a big lead on him, I don't think he can come back in this game. He checks my security with Lucemon, checks Groundmon, and survives. Digivolves into Pitomon. And then Terurimon. And then Angelomon. And he does remember to declare the effect this time, and I go ahead and put a die on the Chaosmon, just so I don't forget that. Activates a Blinding Ray to go to 2. To choke me to 1 memory. As he Digivolves into his WarGreymon. So he does have a blocker on the field, so I cannot swing for game because my Chaosmon can't check security, and I only have one of the Digimon that can attack. Although if I had double Blinding Ray and a Bushi in my hand, I could kill him on this turn. So I can't check security, but I can kill Digimon, so I just run over his Lucemon with my Chaosmon. And then I force his Pitomon to block my Lucemon attack. And then I activate Eden's Javelin to kill his WarGreymon, just so he can't Wombo on me on his turn. And so now I'm set up just to beat him on my turn. There's not really a lot he can do, so he just scoops here. So I do take game 1. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but if you have not already entered our giveaway, check the link in the description. Giving away one of these. Check it out. Alright, let's get back to the video. And my opponent does choose to go first for game 2, which is music to my ears. I love going second. He opens another security, or he opens another recovery Salamon. I'm pretty sure that deck list has 3 to 4 of that card, which I disagree with, but But I opened my 2 of Patamon as the only rookie in my hand, so I do have to Digivolve it. Digivolve into my Pitomon. And then play my Pulsemon to choke him at 1 and draw a card. If you guys missed it, by the way, he had just hard passed on his first turn to put me to 3. If you couldn't tell what happened. He didn't want to give me a whole bunch of memory, and he didn't really have anything better to play in his hand, so he just hard passed to put me to 3. He is setting up a bit of a scary stack in his breeding area. I should probably be careful, or be more careful than I am being with it, but YOLO. Now we got 3 blockers on the field and just big stuff in our hand. He Digivolves into his Magnadramon. Swing security and activates Magnadramon's effect. Plays the Patamon for free. Checks a Groundmon and survives. Then plays a TK. And grabs a Pulsemon out of there. Right now, I really should focus on trying to get rid of that Magnadramon, because if he drops a Chaosmon on me, he just gets to blow up 2 of my guys. In addition to him swinging on his turn with the Magnadramon to put another rookie on the field for free. But I do Digivolve into double Angewomon and just -2 security on both of them. So he does swing with the Magnadramon, activate the effect to play Pulsemon and draw a card from Pulsemon. And here it comes. Chaosmon Valderarm, and now I get to blow up 2 of my Digimon for free. Bad News Bears. I kind of played into that. That was my fault. I can't really do much, so I'll just play a Bushi just to make it his turn again. Right here, he's just digging. He's playing the cheap Evos, digging deeper into his deck. He swings with Chaosmon. Just barely beats over my Salamon and my security. He swings with his Pulsemon, and I block that. I do think he's trying to bait my Pitomon into blocking so he can run it over, but I accept that. Because there's a good chance I can beat over his Tsururimon if he swings. And he plays the Structure Deck Angewomon on top of the Tsururimon. And puts me to 2 memory. Now to figure out how to regain advantage with his board. Definitely some scurry stuff on there. I do not have enough cards to kill Chaosmon Valderon, but I can kill his ultimate, so he can't go into another WarGreymon. And he swings into my security with Chaosmon. Beats over another Salamon, just barely. Plays a Bushi. Put himself to 0 and swings. Does die to the Growlmon check. And then chokes me at 1 by digivolving his Pitomon. I swing with Patamon. He does not block. And so my only hope here is hopefully he doesn't have another Bushi Agumon or a way to go into WarGreymon. So I Magnetramon, put him to 10, and just hope that he can't kill me on his turn. There's potential, depending on how much memory I get back on my turn, that I can kill him if he doesn't clear my board. He targets my Magnetramon with Angelomon's effect. Makes sense. Then he plays Mastamon here, and as soon as he plays it, I know that it's over. Trashes the top card of our security, and then he gets to play a level 4 or lower Digimon from his trash. And plays the Bushi Agumon, which has Rush. Checks another Salamon. Swings the Mastamon. And swings for game. He does take game 2. I will be going second for game 3. My opponent does start out by digivolving his Pulsemon on his Digitama, which I don't agree with. It could have been his only rookie, though. But I like to just play those from hand, just so you don't waste the ability to draw a card for free. I have a pretty ideal opening turn. Digivolve up to a champion and then play Pulsemon for the draw. He plays a TK to choke me at 1. And he grabs a Salamon out of there. Which tells me he probably doesn't have another rookie in his hand, and he's trying to set up for next turn. So he can Digivolve on top of his Digitama. I Digivolve into my Angelomon and -2 security on his Unimon. Then he digivolves into his Angelomon and minuses 2 security on my Angelomon. And right now I'm just digging with my cheap Evos, just drawing cards. And I check his security for 6. So I actually know that we're getting close to time. And also that WarGreymon is just going to die if he plays a WarGreymon on his turn. So those are the 2 reasons why I swung. I would have swung with the Angelomon as well if it didn't have -2 security. Right now we have people crowding around us because we're about to go into time. And he swings with his WarGreymon, activates the real dumb effect. And I'm just reading to make sure the effect to -6k is mandatory. Because he hasn't declared the activation, so I tell him that, hey, you have to kill my Angelomon, sadly. And he played the Lucemon off the Angelomon's effect, if you guys couldn't tell. And now he's swinging for 11k into my security. Checks a Blinding Ray. Then he swings again for 11k. And he forgets that he's at 4 security and tries to activate Angelomon's effect again, but I remind him that he's at 4 security, so her effect is not active right now. Then he plays a Blinding Ray. And Digivolves. And he's doing that just to choke me at 1, which, like I said, I disagree with. I understand the logic behind it, but I think you should hold those cards until you can just kill your opponent on your last turn. So I bring my WarGreymon out. Digiburst to -4k onto WarGreymon. Which actually messed this turn up. So I Blinding Ray, go to 3. So now I can play my WarGreymon. I'm sorry, now I can play my Magnadramon. I don't have WarGreymon in my hand. But I do draw it off of the Digivolve, which, you know, sometimes it'd be like that. So if I had thought all the way through this turn, I would have -4k on the Lucemon, because Magnadramon can swing over WarGreymon with the Salamon's effect to -1k on the WarGreymon, and the WarGreymon's effect to +1k on my Magnadramon. Then I play the Lucemon for free off of Magnadramon's effects. And right now I just realized that I could have cleared his whole board if I had played this turn out correctly. So I'm -7 on both. He thinks his Lucemon dies, but his Lucemon's actually still at 2k, and I just tell him that. But that's how powerful this deck is. Like, I could have killed all 3 of his Digimon on my turn, which is pretty insane. Alright, so we just went to turns. So he is turn 0, I'm turn 1. He's turn 2, and I'm turn 3. So for those of you that don't know how time works in Digimon, it's at the end of turns, whoever has the most security wins. If security is tied, it's whoever has the most Digimon on the field wins. If Digimon are tied, then it goes to who has the most cards left in their deck. And he Edens into my Chaosmon to swing over it with Lucamon. Makes sense. And I gain 3 memory to go to 3. And I am trying to position myself to win on my last turn, or set myself up to win in turns on my last turn. Because I'm turn 1, he's going to be turn 2, and then I'm going to get a final turn before the end of time. And so I crash my Lucamon into his Lucamon just to get it off the field. Then I play a Bushi to put him to 3. Since he'll go to 3 anyway from the TK. And he actually forgets to draw here, which I wasn't looking. I'm surprised someone else didn't catch this because we're surrounded by people at this point. But he didn't draw for turn. If I had noticed that, I would have said something to him, but I wasn't looking at him whenever I passed turn to him. He swings with his Bushi and checks a Magna and dies. And then this is his final turn, so he plays a Magna to put me to 8 and go to 5 security. And now he's just hoping that that's enough security for him to win. Probably not, just because of how good yellow is, but I Digivolve into the Structure Deck Angelomon to recover 1. Then I play my WarGreymon. I swing, minus 1k from the Salamon. Activate WarGreymon's effect to minus 6k. And swing again. And I Digivolve into my Terurimon just for the draw. And I also just to have my Bushiagumon most likely survive. And I check a TK, he adds the Angelomon. It doesn't really matter, I think he's just grabbing something. And now we're both tied for security, so I can actually just pass here to win, but I Edens anyway, just because. But I do take it in turns on game 3 to win round 1.